and welcome to another empowering episode of Crossroad Conversation. Today, we have the privilege of hosting a dynamic duo who are not only partners in life, but also champions in the realm of career transformation. Meet Shilpa and Kapil Kulshrestha, the epitome of what it means to be a power couple. Together, Shilpa and Kapil are the driving force behind Scintillate, a beacon of hope for the overworked, the undervalued, and underpaid. Their partnership embodies resilience, passion, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. Shilpa and Kapil, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's our pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, I really hope that we can do justice to that big statement that you made, and people watching it walk away with something practical, implementable, and powerful.
I'm sure they will. I've been following the post for both of you, and that's the reason I said I have to get both of you. I know you all are coaches in the business world, but I did, identify and read between the lines between the relationship that you all share, and I wanted it to be out there, let the world see of how you all navigate in life with your relationships, and I'm sure people are going to love it and they're going to learn a lot. So, as I said, let's start today's episode with some fun questions in the beginning. Don't think too much about it. Let's keep it spontaneous and quick, and then we'll deep dive into some deep conversations about relationships. So let's start with the first one. Describe a funny or memorable moment you've experienced while coaching together.
Okay, so I would go first. A lot of them, but one that comes instantly to my mind is Kapil and I, when we coach together, Kapil is a person of a lot of words, and being an introvert, I shy away. So it's like we delivered on the face of it, but behind the scenes we had a lot of argument about you didn't give me space. It comes from the heart of an introvert. So it used to happen in the early days quite a lot when we didn't know how to work together. We knew as husband and wife, but we didn't know in front of the client how much space to claim, how much space to ask. And I think it was purely from my side, because I was trying to tell myself that I can also do it, because I always knew Kapil can do it, but it was me, and those fights went on. I think for the initial 1.5 to 2 years, we were just learning to deal with each other in the professional world.
And I think
Do you
for
have
me,
a different one?
Yeah, I have a very different one in terms of like coaching, and it's not so much of coaching together. That the funniest moment is happened. It happened like a few months back. That right in front of my wall there's a whole galaxy picture, and I used to have that background earlier, so people see galaxy. And once I was talking in the middle of this, I was talking about the type 1A supernova, and telling about that we are made of star material. And because I've gone through a journey in South America last year in September, I have this thing, which is the moment that suddenly comes in, and suddenly that moment stepped in, and I went ballistic with energy, and I was crying, and I was talking, and I was like, "Did you realize, like, they're made of star material?" And it was so funny, like, and I think I went on like a 10 minutes rant. 10 minutes is a lot to hear something like this, and and I'm standing, and I'm like, oh, and my face expression, everything was weird. And then at the end of it, one of the guys, Ashish Hasija, he said, in Hindi, he said, "Sir, kya khate ho?" That's so funny. I was like, it was so funny. So I think that was the funniest thing which ever happened during the middle of the coaching, where I completely got like, boom, completely off guard.
Yeah. If you look back at your own videos that way, it'll sound funny, but I'm sure everyone connected, and that's the delivery that you guys both do it from your heart.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next. What's the funniest or the most bizarre feedback you've received from a reader about your books?
I can tell. The funniest feedback is actually it's public. It's on Amazon. There's this person, Hussein, if I never forgot the name, and he on Amazon, he actually left a feedback that he said that I was reading this book and I'm noticing lots of grammatical errors, sentence construction issues. And then till the point, I came to a point where the authors have mentioned that you'll find a lot of grammatical error and a lot of sentence construction. It's exactly the thing in my mind, he said, but ignore it, focus on the learning. And so this book has been amazing game changer for me. And he gave a 5 out of 5. So it was amazing that he somebody would say that. So I think that was the funniest and probably very insightful comment, because it told me that when you do something, you'll make mistakes. Most people get dissuaded by mistakes. Most people are like, I don't want to commit a mistake. And it told us that even if you're very well prepared, you're going to make mistakes. And it's okay. And it was so cool. It's just so like,
Right.
Yeah, and I would say like it's exactly the same thing that on our book. I don't know if you know about that story, that we worked on our book for 5 months and we were working on a couple of pages every day. And then one day, something happened. We went to a program and then we came back and we finished the rest of the book in 5 days. So at that point, what our intention was to push it out to the world. That was the entire focus that we were working with. So they have a lot of mistakes because we didn't take it through a proper edit process, and I think that episode opened up quite a lot for us in terms of being okay with these reviews. When people see grammatical errors and sentence construction, English, wrong English and all that, because we were in so much hurry. So it was funny when people came up and they told that, and still the book became a bestseller. So it told us a lot about us, that it is more about churning and building on the feedback rather than sitting and trying to finesse every single word. And I think that book opened up a lot of things in terms of our own coaching for ourselves.
Wonderful. All right. If you were a famous duo from a movie or a TV show, who would it be and why?
ooh. Oh my gosh, you added this out. Famous duo.
I would be the Jab We Met Kareena Kapoor. मैं अपनी favorite हूँ. I know I will be that person.
Both of us together. Yeah, we'll probably be. Yeah, good answer.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. I think that's one of the favorite duos that India likes, and I think abroad too. Okay. Yeah. If you could swap lives with each other, what's the first thing you would do as each other?
That's a difficult one.
So the first thing I'll do, if I could swap out life with Shilpa, is to work less at home, because she does a lot of housework, which I'm not in favor of.
Okay. And what will I do? Well, I would go and speak on stages around the world, because I would know that I'm born for stages. So that's what I would do.
I'm going to get a scolding on this answer, by the way, later. Okay. So I'm just telling you.
Yeah. He's doing his bit actually to take away all the housework away from me.
But I think that comes with all women and mothers. They love to do their housework. They love to just be engaged. How much ever house help they have and their partner's help they have to be involved.
Yeah, yes. I think it is conditioned within us women to be in a certain way, even though we are trying to break our conditioning every single day. But it is like, this is me. And Kapil and I, we have this, discussion quite often that I love to cook. I love to experiment with cooking. And he's like, what is the need to cook? We don't. That's not worth our time. And I'm like, that's a detox for me. Right. And then our girls also join. We would cook up for ourselves, So I don't know. I mean, it is coming from conditioning, not that it is required, but we need to have certain control over life. And I know that we women need to let go of some part of it, at least to start with.
So I also want to add, actually, because another thought came to my mind, which is really this, that Shilpa, what I'll do differently, that, when she said that I just go to the stage and unleash myself completely, I do notice that Shilpa, when she's coaching people, when she's live with people, oh man, the thought process is just beyond ordinary. And I often think, shucks, I wish I could think like this. And I often speak without thinking, like I often just blurt it out. And when I noticed that what she does when she's recording videos is that she's doubting herself. She gives herself a shot at failing. So I would instantly do this, that, and this answer can also get me pretty good, strong amount of scolding. But I think this is the thing that that I would change. Other than that, she's amazing. 25 years marriage, amazing. And I think Shilpa is holding back. Like, there'll be so many things she would want to change in me, But this is one thing which I would say, what, that even when she's an amazing coach, like, I listen to her sometimes. She's walking in the backyard, and I can, like, she's talking to people, and I'm thinking, shocks, man. Like, everybody loves her, and people love my energy. Everybody loves her, and I'm like, whoa, that's like the thought process with which she can get people to zero in on the real issue. And for me, it comes from talking rather than listening. And she's a great listener. And it's so different. But then when she's creating video, the introvert just comes up. Introversion comes up. And I'm like, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I think it's a very tricky thing, because for me, when I'm doing it live, it comes very natural. It is like life in front of me, real problem. And when I'm making a video, I still struggle because, somewhere I want it to be perfect, which I don't feel the need for in real life, because I know that I'm adding value. So it's my own space where I need to grow more. And it's my, that little area of improvement which I'm working on.
Wonderful. I think most of us, I'm that way. I have grown a lot since the first video that I made, and that was for an interview, which was an online one. So yeah, we all have a space to grow and improve. So
yeah.
But it really shows. It really shows. I see the similarity between the two of you and me and my husband, where one of us would speak and then think, and the other would think and then speak. So it does happen.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite inside joke or the secret language that only the two of you understand? You don't have to tell us the secret language. Otherwise, it won't be a secret anymore. But maybe you could share
I could tell.
About.
Yeah, I could tell. Shilpa can catch, I think it's common for both. Shilpa can catch my lie because of something, but I won't tell what.
Yeah. I know. He never lies to me, but if he does, or he's trying to tease me, I can just catch him within a second. So,
and my kids also, because there's a telltale sign. My kids, if I lie, my kids can catch it because they know what happens, and Shilpa can catch. So that's probably a secret thing. I can't tell that. That's like, otherwise I can't pull anybody's leg otherwise. Yeah.
And I'm sure Shilpa doesn't even have to put it in words. One look would be enough to say, okay, I can see through.
Yes, absolutely. I feel it is also because Kapil is like, I feel he's such a sorted out person. He's what he's inside, he's outside as well. There's no, even it's not only me, other people also leave this thing where, he's trying to say something else in his mind. He's trying to be naughty. Leave that aside. But otherwise, everybody that he meets, they're like, Kapil is somebody who is inside out exactly the same. And I believe somewhere I still have boundaries with people. I keep away from certain people, and I choose this thing. But Kapil is like full, he's in love with whoever he meets, and he goes with an open heart. And, that makes inside out just synchronized for him.
Okay. All right. If you'll have to describe each other in 3 words, but the catch is you can't use the words related to your professions.
Okay.
Shilpa is joy. She's pure love, and she's high impact.
Wonderful.
Okay, so if I talk about Kapil, energy, which you would also agree, everybody who sees him, energy, that's the first thing that comes to my mind because he's absolutely awesome with it. He never gets tired. The second one would be contribution. So he would just go to any extent to contribute because he just cannot help but do it. So in the process, sometimes he does burn relationship because not everybody is open, but he goes with a heart to contribute. So that's the second thing. And the third one is sponge. Kapil is a sponge. He doesn't come with a mindset that I know it all. He's always looking to learn. He's a very good student. So if we go to conferences, like you should literally see him. He's there writing, which is which is amazing to watch because he's a sponge. He's always looking at taking more, learning more, because he doesn't feel that I have got everything inside me to get there. And I think that's an amazing trait.
Wonderful. All right. So now we'll hop right into the other section. Tell us a little about Scintillate, its inception and your partnership in it.
Okay.
Yeah. Shilpa, go ahead. Shilpa, yeah.
Okay. So Scintillate, it was started. In fact, Scintillate was officially started when I left Westpac. So Kapil became a coach in 2018, and for a year he was working. I don't know what was the name of the company. I forgot, Kapil. I forgot that part has zoned out. But when Westpac asked me to go, like I was kicked out of my company, I remember that December or something, we started working on this new company and we did everything. So that was like, it was literally born out of my new life starting, and just getting, finding my way into Kapil's life, because he had already set up the stage for me. So he already had the grounding. And December 2018, right, Kapil? That was when it was started, right? Yeah. So, and the name came from scintillating, which means sparkling. So we wanted our clients to sparkle, to be rock stars in the workplace. So we took that name for us. And later on only we realized that it is such a difficult name for people to pronounce because people often mess up with the spelling. But it was coming out of the intention that we wanted everybody to stand tall and shine and sparkle in their careers.
Wonderful. And I think, yeah, if they learn about your company's name, they'll learn a new word at least, if nothing.
Yeah. I think I when I look at it, like Cinder is just a vehicle to do what we do. It's I personally, I don't even care about the company name because we are the company. What we do is the company. So I think what describes it more is plateful and murdering mediocrity. That is more core to who we are. Cinder is just a word. It's just a word. Like it could have been, Kashi or Shikap or something like that. Just who cares? It's just a name. It's just a nicer name than Peak X. That's what I called earlier on. Peak X. Oh, let's do marketing. Right? It's just a very marketing. It was a very marketing name. I think Scintillate is to some degree is also a very marketing name. But the real thing, who we are, is plateful, murdering mediocrity of our thing that we are. That's the real name for us. That's our identity, actually. Scintillate is just a company name. It's like, it's there as an entity, but it's not us.
Yeah. Right. And that's very true. And in fact, I came to know you guys first about murdering mediocrity and plateful before I came across Scintillate. So it is because of you guys. So yeah, that's doing wonderful.
Yeah. And there's a learning there for the people who are looking at opening companies and all that. Keep it so simple that people can see it, they can remember it. When we make a company, we try to give it the fanciest name, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is the movement that you are in. What is the mission that you're looking at? What is your vision? Otherwise, the company name only sits in the documentation, the contracts, and all those things.
Right. How did you first meet, and what initially drew you to each other?
Kapil, you want to answer?
It's a very funny story. It was an arranged marriage, and I belong to a family where you see a girl, you gotta say yes. Period. All four brothers like this, right? You see, otherwise don't even see. So we already came to say yes, and Shilpa was dragged by a hair, screaming and this thing from Dehradun to Delhi to this. And she came to say no. That was amazing, right? I came to say yes, she came to say no. And I came with a preparation. I had a if then else, which I had learned from my friends, that there is going to be a if then else structure. Ask this question, ask this question, ask this question. And I had like a developer that I was, error handling and everything planned out. So, and for me, the whole thing was that And it's a secret that recently came out that I married Shilpa because I had no confidence in me that I will ever make money because I just was not good enough in my life. So I thought if I marry a CA, sure, I'm REC product and MBA from IMT Ghaziabad, but I had zero confidence in my ability to make money. So I thought if I marry a CA, she will basically make money and we can survive. That's what the reason was. So I was like, I came to say yes. And then and also one of the things you always carry in your head is when you're from a Hindi medium background is that, oh, you gotta speak in English, like, style. So I was like, what language you're comfortable with? And she says, oh, any. I'm like, cool. All right, so I'm going to speak in English. And then I asked her a question, are you a career woman or a working woman? And she says, I'm a career woman. I said, good. And that's what my friends had, like, she'll say career woman, CA hai, she'll say career woman. So I was like, okay, look, and then I explained her the difference between career women and working women. And I pushed down the career woman massively as a, and by working woman as like, hey, somebody who's also give family a priority. Career woman doesn't care about family and all of it. And then I go into my if then else structure and ask the question, so who are you, career woman or working woman? Knowing fully well that logically she'll say working woman. And she goes career woman. And that particular piece of my code in my head was not handled. So it was like error. And I was like, okay. And I didn't ask any other question after that. But we had to say yes, period. Right. Other thing is, when she came, I just didn't. I thought that there is no thunder and lightning moment. My first thought was, she's dark and she's thin. It was not like, oh my gosh, I'm forever in love with this person. It was like, I thought she's dark and she's thin. Then I was disgusted. Then I felt guilty about thinking like that. Then I felt good about feeling guilty about thinking like that. Then I felt bad about feeling good about feeling guilty about that. So, that was my mind. That's how we met.
Yeah. And I would say, yes, my parents wanted, like, there was through a common connection. One of my bhabi was, she's a Kapil's cousin. And that's how our families got in touch. And I said career woman because somewhere the rebel in me didn't want to marry. I didn't want to marry. And I just saw Kapil, it was like, oh, he's trying to be too smart with me. So I'm a career woman, that's what he doesn't want to hear. So let me say that so that he says no. And when so there was a point where they started, I wanted them to know about my eyesight. So my eyesight was pretty weak. And I wore thick glasses. So I told my dad to tell their family about it. So they told, and everybody in his family was like totally instantly against the marriage because I told them what my, it's -5. And they were like, -5 is too much. You don't want to marry the girl. And that's where I saw the real Kapil. So Kapil was there. He was saying, doesn't matter to me. I'm okay with it. I want to marry her. And not that he had felt anything for me. I don't know where, but I saw the standard that he was carrying, this guy. And I was like, this guy can stand against the family also for what he thinks is right. So he's the right one for me. And before that, quietly, I'd also seen his background that he was making 12,000 rupees. And I was like, oh, this is more than what my dad is making. So, somewhere it was like all the boxes were ticked. He was an engineer, which meant a safe, like that's where I was operating from as a 22, 23-year-old. So I said, oh, it's safer. He's got a good education background. He makes decent money and he's got standards. So that was the point where I said, okay, now I want him to say yes, because I've seen the way he thinks and what he stands up for. And that's where somewhere our stars aligned. And obviously they had come ready with all the ring and saris and everything. And yeah, life started.
That's so wonderful. Even though one came with a yes and one came with a no, but it's interesting to know that you all still did your background research and everything and came ready with questions. So I'm sure that was a really interesting phase of your time. Okay, what are some key principles or values that have guided your relationship through challenges?
Yeah, I would just go first because I didn't know it back then. Some of the core principles, and a lot of people might not like it, but that's the way it is. One of the simple principles was that we're both equal. And I grew up in a family where there were 4 boys, and my mom was never equal. My dad's equal, and I don't know why and how I got to it. I still don't know what, But it was like, if I want something in my life and somebody else stops me, then it's going to be a problem. So it's like, if somebody tells me not to do certain things, then I'm not going to like it. So that means that she also is somebody who does not like, um, you know, the one core principle, and I don't know where I got it from because I grew up in a family of four boys. But one core principle was that what is true for me is what is true for her. She's not my better half. I'm not her better half. We're equal, right? That was one principle that guided us. And second, I still don't know where I got it from, but I got it from somewhere that she is the most important person in my life forever. And it's not something I got after the coach. Even when our girls were small and they would ask, Papa, who do you love more, Mama or me? Mama or us? And I would say, love you guys and everything is amazing, but don't even compare yourself with Mom. She's on a different planet altogether. And because I have always had this very clear, big clarity in my life that, my parents had their partners, I have my partners, and my kids will have their partners. She's my partner. So that is another thing which guided us. This thing. The third thing I think has been that we never let anything slide under the rug. So we would have argument and fight and all of it, and we have got to go to office tomorrow, critical meeting, CIO meeting, this meeting, that meeting. But will we awake till 3 a.m., talk about it? So in our entire marriage of around 25 years, getting to be 25 years in November, we could count on fingers how many days we went next day without sorting an issue. And through this process, we always found that the issue that we're talking about was non-issue. It was just that we felt so righteous at the time to even be ready to hurt each other. So I think that was another principle that we will talk about it. Never, ever anything under the rug. Other principle, and I know it's very hard for people to digest, is that I've never lied to Shilpa. Ever. And maybe the thing behind it is that, and I don't lie in life, because the moment I lie, I'm giving too much power to that person. So I would not do that. But that was not the fundamental reason. It's like the commitment that she has towards me is so beyond ordinary that what would lying to her is gonna do. And that helped us through rocky patches that we went through in our life. Every time, because this was never questioned. That was another principle that we have followed. Yeah, that's probably just comes to my mind right now. 4 of them.
Yeah, I'll take you into the dreamy part because for women it is, and I love the joy and the happiness that I've built around Kapil in my life. So this guy makes me feel beautiful every single day. I feel like a queen standing next to him, right? So
she is beautiful. What are you talking about? She's gorgeous. Yeah. She's like.
So it was like he said, I was a very thin, non-attractive person. But I don't know what happened. When I started life with him, everything changed. Everything changed in my life. I got laser done, which was like, oh my God, I can see without specs. This equality that he's talking about, there's no reading in between the lines for that. He is a man of words. So he fights with me if I work more than him. He literally fights with me. He doesn't want me. He cares about equality so much. He's fights he already talked about. We have got this, like we'll sort it out. And I believe somewhere we have built life together, right? Somewhere in life, we were coming from insecurity, both of us. Somewhere we were coming from a place where we weren't the most, we weren't the life of our family. And when we got together, it was like, we have got a gold mine and we built everything together right from the scratch. So many times, I believe life gave us an opportunity to build it up from the scratch so many times, more so in 2019 when we got broke. But I think that's where our love and companionship and completely trusting each other, because we realize that even like I see a lot of people who don't work, couples who don't work together. But I believe that if we cannot work with the person who is committed their entire life to us, then who else can we trust this much, right? So I think it is a relationship of openness, of trust, of completely, madly, crazily passionately in love with each other, and building little wins together. And that's what makes life beautiful.
And also, Jennifer, I also want to mention this that look, while we say that and all of that, we are also probably each other's worst enemies, because we can stop each other from our own individual greatness. Quite a few years back, I saw a TED talk where this guy, golden rims and gray colored dress, he mentioned that most people will not build powerful life because when they want to, they'll be stopped by their partners. So yeah, good. You see a TED talk, you kind of feel very impressed with that, but you don't implement it, right? Knowledge, unfortunately, rules more than it needs to, because people think we know something and that's why we are so great, and it doesn't make them anything. So anyway, so fast forward about 3 years back. So this was probably 5, 6 years back. I must have seen it. And 3 years back, Shilpa said, "Oh, I've got something important to talk about." Like what? And she said, "Look, I feel that I'm ready for a TEDx platform. I have a voice." And I was like, "Yeah, it's not a business priority, because I'm very energy and high intensity, like very masculine. And back then more so. Now I'm a bit more in touch with my feminine side, but back then much more. And part of me also thought, Shilpa, like, she doesn't deserve it, man. She's not there. She's an introvert. How did she do this?" And obviously I didn't say that, because that would have been bad. But so I take another side of that argument and I say all that stuff. When I said that I never lied to Shilpa, I think it's wrong, because that time I did lie, right? It's a harmless lie. You don't say because you don't want to hurt, right? Those are lies we all tell. And I'm pretty sure, I don't want to hurt her feeling, nonsense kind of thing, right? Better if I had said it. But anyway, so I say it's not a business priority and all of it. And we very soon it escalates and I shout and go down and I do what husbands do, and switch on the television, sit. But in few minutes, I calm down. I'm like, ooh, that's wrong. But that's one of the other thing. I would calm down very fast. But back then I was like an angry young man, and it's just, and then I realized that it was stupid. So I go upstairs and I apologize. And through those tears, Shilpa said something which is very vital, and it became a very big change in our life. And then we actually decided to get some coaching in this as well, not therapy, coaching, because don't believe in therapy at this stage right now. Anyway, not to be disrespectful. We are coaches, so we believe in coaching. So anyway, so she says to me, she said, "Kapil, I will do this with you or without you. It'll be really good to do it with you." And I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in. And when I say I'm all in, I'm all in. I will do things which might be distasteful, but I will do it. I'll do it, and I'll do it with all my heart. I will not consider them distasteful at all. So I believe people confuse dependency and interdependency. Dependency is where I depend on my partner for making a decision, or I look at validation. Interdependency is that I'll make a decision, I will do it, and my partner will support me no matter what, even if it seems to be wrong decisions to her or him. And I think where we have taken our relationship to, because we are also work in progress, is that we are interdependent. We're not dependent on each other. It's a choice we made to be together. And it's a choice that we make every single day to be together. We make the choice after the fight, before the fight, during the fight. We make the choice to be together. There's nothing holding us back together. There's no family. There's no saath feras. It's a choice that we made every day together. And that means interdependency.
Those are wonderful points, actually. And reflecting on the trials you've faced together, how have you grown individually as a couple?
Massively, I would say. Massively. Individually, there are a lot of things which have changed down the line. Like Kapil was talking about taking decisions. So I used to take a lot of pride in saying that we do everything together, we decide everything together. And behind it, it was my own incompetency of being able to take a decision. So I believe that over the years, I've become pretty strong and pretty clear in taking decisions, and I don't need anybody, even Kapil inside it. Yes, we do, tell each other what decisions, and same, he tells me. But, I'm pretty strong on, who to partner with, what kind of client, what kind of results, who to engage, with regard to our team. I'm pretty clear about it because I think somewhere my calmness comes handy in that, and I'm able to decide and also make my decisions right. So it would not have been possible if we had not taken ourselves through that journey, because that amount of confidence that we are doing the right things would not have come in, at least in me. Individually, that has been my growth. The other area where I have grown is I would always feel that, and it's contradictory, but I would come from the place that I'm always right. So I had this thing about not listening to anybody, but I have calmed myself down and, kind of trying to imbibe the sponge that Kapil is, to also listen at times and challenge myself and say, no, Shilpa, you're not right all the time. You have to listen and you have to keep your ego aside and open up to what the other person is saying. Yeah.
And look, for me, I know people say I'm whoever I am is because of my parents, and my school, my teacher, and my coaches, and everything. But one thing is very, very clear. I have no doubts about it. And I don't say it because we are in this podcast and we have I've been saying it for years now. I think every single thing, everything I became after marriage. I was a nobody. I was an obscure guy, youngest of the four, obscure. Nobody heard me. Nobody listened to me. Same thing goes to college. Same thing goes to engineering. Same thing goes to job. Very obscure. And every single thing that I've achieved in life is because of this relationship with Shilpa. And she has not just supported, but challenged me to bring my best. And, positivity, joy, and everything. There's so much that I have learned from her. And there's so much that, like, there's a certain idol that I follow in Shilpa. Like, she's so much joyful, and I'm not still, but it has been an inspiration for me for the last 6 years since I've become more aware of who I am. And it's still an inspiration, but she embodies joys. And in the fight, I use it against her, by the way. I say, hey, you embody joy. This looks like joy, right? Yeah, I do that, but that's just to get my point across, which I don't get to. But I honestly believe that I wouldn't have been this person without her. And I say it to my parents as well. Whatever I became after that, because back then I was a nobody. And I think I became somebody. Obviously, at the core of any relationship, at the core of anything is you yourself. Your relationship with yourself has to be super powerful. So the core is me alone, 100%. But just on the periphery of that, just on that core is Shilpa. The shining, helping me really shine in my life, everything. Yeah, it's just personally, I'm repeating the same thing over and over, but yeah.
I would say partners. Yeah, we underestimated so much, Jennifer, when we are thinking about our awesome careers, getting to CXO level, leading companies, opening companies. We just think about it. What we don't realize is, what we don't question is our partnership at home. It is so important. It comes so handy. So even though we are career coaches, the first thing that we tell people when they want to do something amazing in their career is to get the relationship at home sorted. And most of the time, there's no evident problem as such. But if you have that foundation properly laid out, then you can achieve anything, because you know that the other person is there always to give you support. You have got unconditional love. You've got the framework, the foundation on top of which anything and everything can be built. Right. So we don't take this partnership lightly. Like, it is like prayer for us. We every day, no matter how busy we are, we have our tea together morning after we do our workout, and we work out together, and then we sit and we have tea together, and we love it. We both crave for it. We've got that as part of the morning routine. So those little moments we steal for ourselves, even in the evening, whether we work with 80 people across 18 countries. Even if we finish at 9:30 p.m., 10 p.m., we go out for a walk. Every single day, we go for a 6 to 7 kilometer walk. So it is very important to steal time, whether you're looking at promotion, whether you are struggling to find a new job, whether it is opening up a business, whatever you want to do in life. It is very important to invest time in the relationship, because it is so soulful to have that wonderful foundation at home.
So one last point, when people say that, oh, I keep my professional and personal life separate. I don't talk to my partner about the work and all. I think they're really missing something very good, because there's nobody in the whole world who's going to be as committed to your growth as your partner. Nobody has more stakes. So if you bring them together, just it's a different game you play in life.
Right. So yeah, I totally understand the part where you said that, whatever business they're doing when they come back home, you have to sort out that piece, whether they have an issue or not, build that base very well. And I think that is really good because they are working really hard out there trying to build their empire. When they come back home, that's their safe space. That's their space for creativity, I would say. And if that is not very supportive for them, they can't go out and perform much better. So that's a really good piece that you'll have brought up. And also, Kapil, you mentioned about Shilpa being very joyous. So I think this I would like to bring out to the audience, that a lot of times people would look at somebody's high energy, such as you, so vibrant. People would always think that is happiness, that is joy. But joy can be found in something which is very subtle, very quiet, like in the case of Shilpa. So yeah, thanks for bringing that point out, because I don't know how many people would actually notice this. But yes, happiness and joy doesn't really come with a bang and a big noise always.
100%.
Absolutely.
All right. So were there any moments when you disagreed on how to handle a challenge, and how did you navigate those differences and come to a resolution?
I think it would be an easier question to ask, that were there any moments when you actually completely 100% aligned with something? Yeah, always. Every single thing. Like when you have business with your partner, it's a big problem. You're like inviting a lot of argument, lot of trouble, lot of lack of prioritization, changes, and all of it. So there were lots and lots and lots of movement. I think more than anything else, what has helped us is A, knowing that the heart is in the right place. B, be together, like whiteboarding and actually figuring it out, and C, getting back to our roots. So we become like a candle for each other. Like, how does it? How does, like, this is not a business for us? Okay, this is our life. I'll do it till the day I die. Like, this is it. Not doing anything else in my life. And sure, I make a lot of money in that and get that $1 million award and all that. All that's cool. But this is not a business. This is our life. It's a lifestyle. Everything is included in this. So we are able to bring each other to that core of murdering mediocrity, our mission, our movement. And when we bring there and we suddenly, because we forget at times, it becomes about tactics and strategies and customer acquisition and marketing, but we bring each other back, and then it just becomes really easy. And I really wish we more start from there, but that doesn't happen. Like, we start from a surface level problem, and gradually an argument becomes a possibility for us to get down to that core. So everything, all the discussion about, is very challenging. About, okay, this is new thing. What do we do? How do we do it? It leads to argument. Yeah, often.
Yeah. And it is also because of the fact that we are very different personalities, and pretty strong. Kapil is a very strong person, his personality, and I'm also a very strong personality. And even though we carry, like, I carry that calmness, he carries that energy, sometimes my calmness can be very irritating to him, and his energy can be too much for me, right? So usually it is like when he's jumping around like a ball in the house all the time. The house is joyful, and we love it. But sometimes when it goes negative, it just goes negative, right? So then, and same with me, when I'm like, nobody can reach me when I get angry. So definitely there are times when we look at things in different ways. And because, like, Kapil is a sponge. He is always like, okay, this change, that change. And I'm like, one change at a time. I put that. So there are a lot of things where we don't see eye to eye, but we have learned that ultimately, like, we trust each other's intentions. So we need to understand where they are coming from. And more than Kapil, it has been a learning process for me, because I know Kapil is always looking at bettering the life. And he might come up with 100 ideas, but sometimes 100 may look overwhelming to me. But I need to take a look at each one of them, because I don't know which two ideas are right for us at this time, which can take our life to the next level. So it has been a learning for me to open up to the ideas and look at it and do the whiteboarding and do a proper discussion rather than just putting a hand and say no, right? So different personalities, different challenges, but as long as you know the intention, as long as there are three things, and I often talk about these things, as long as there's love, as long as there's respect, as long as there's trust, you can make anything work. And that's the foundation of our marriage.
Right. And Kapil, you mentioned that, discuss with your partners, your business, your ideas, whatever you're going through. Now, sometimes it does happen that the event of discussing these things, the other partner, one or the other, I wouldn't say it usually comes from the man or usually comes from the woman, but one of the partners would be so enthusiastic into trying to help the other one that they would start suggesting solutions. And the other one actually doesn't want a solution. All they want is a year to hear them out, to just understand how they're feeling at that point of time. Does this happen to you guys, and how do you work with that?
All the time. And look, this is a difference between men and women, right? It's something that I learned very hard way through a lot of experience with the girls, because I live with 3 women in the family. Is that women don't want a solution, and we men think that we have to give a solution to everything, and it's annoying, it's irritating, it's disrespectful, it's bad. So they just want an ear. They just want an ear, and I don't know whether I do it all the time now, but I have learned to listen more and not give a solution. Though it's very hard for me to not give a solution, because I'm all about solution. So what you're saying is true. It happens to people all the time. Yeah. But we, just like anybody else, we also manage through this just like everybody else. I don't think I have a big solution about it other than what is already there in lots of book about it, that do that. I think it's like as long as if maybe this is a solution, but solution, man, solution, right? So it's like if partners actually explicitly sit together and create a shared vision of their life, and actually almost nobody does. We've had over 1,000 people who have done our programs, and I think there were 1 or 2 ever who actually even discussed their goals and came to the shared conclusion. When people do our program in a certain week, they talk. We ask them to get their partners involved into their shared vision, and it's a big eye-popping exercise for them. They have never done it. So if we actually, like, people have corporate plan, business plan, all that big thing, shosha that people do in the corporate world. Apply it at home. Do a shared vision exercise with your partner, with your daughter, with your sons or daughters, right? I have always daughters. With daughters, even with friends, like, do a value exercise. How many people actually know about their values or their strength? People talk about strength, they talk about the strength from corporate world. Values, 99% people have the values borrowed from their parents. Do that exercise with a partner. You'll be with a different person. So do that exercise. Work it out. What are our shared values as a family? And boom, it just creates a boom. And then a new baseline gets created. And then there's a problem with that. Then a new baseline gets created. There's a problem with that. Gradually you go up. It's a journey. There's no destination. So I think that's what will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think communication is the key. Most of the times they won't sit down together, and miscommunications happen because you just see what is being said. You don't know the intention behind that. And once that communication gap is filled in, I think things work out, as long as you are aware of the intentions and why your partner is saying or doing what they are.
Yeah, we talk to people and people say, how much time do you spend together? Oh, every day. Oh, every day. Oh, 1 hour. 1 hour doing what? If you remove all the transactional work, what do you want to make? Where do you want to go? What TV to watch? If you remove all that time, How much time do you spend talking about who you are, what am I, what am I doing? Almost never. Almost never. And by the way, we didn't do that as well. Even when we went for a walk, our walk and our talk used to be so transactional. And other things will just seep in, fortunately, thankfully. It is not planned because of the amount of time we would spend, sheer amount of time we would spend together, and the walks made a big difference, big difference. Like we would have probably done together maybe 20,000 kilometers or more of walks. So, so that made a big difference. When most people are so much like transactional conversation and they call it spending time with the family. Everybody says, I want to spend time with family. Like, really, do you want to, and do you call going out to a movie, spending time together? Do you call going out to a restaurant where you both are on your phone, spending time together? Do you call watching movie as spending time together? Sure. If that's what you want, of course you don't want it. Spending time together is shared vision. Kuch to karo jo saath mein karo. Like, we are setting something put together. Like, that's what builds relationship. I just want to add this one, which is going to help your audience as well. There's this Greek concept called chronos and kairos. Chronos is a chronological time. It's an ancient Greece concept. Chronos is chronological time that we spend, like 10 years. We've been together for 25 years. Oh, okay, cool. That is chronos. Yeah, normal clock. And there's something called kairos, Kairos. Kairos is the quality of the time. When you spend quality time together, and quality time together means you're talking about something specific. When you're doing quality work, that is 100 times bigger than the chronos. So people who could be stuck with certain problem for 2 decades, 3 decades, they could resolve it in flat 2 days if they just spend kairos time. Kairos time slows down because your quality of the outcome increases. You notice little things. It's simple. Focus on less. Chronos, you focus on this thing. Same thing with relationships. Like, I think in last 7 years, how much we have grown. We did not grow as much in last 17 years of our wedding. We grew much more, and we had more arguments, more fights in this time period, but we grew most because our quality of the time changed. So yeah, that's what it has got to be.
Right. Quality over quantity. And you said that, you all went for walks. Even though you went for walks, it was mostly transactional discussions that happened. But of course, that was the need of the hour, I think, because you all were building your business at that time, moving into a new direction. But I think even though it was transactional, a lot of business discussions was happening. I think even in that moment, there was a lot that each of you would be discovering. Because as you mentioned, you're different personalities. So there would be a clash between the ideas that were being shared. So in that, you were still building your relationship, I would say.
100%.
Absolutely. Sometimes you would spend 1.5 hours over one point, and by the time you would come back home, that would have been sorted out. So yes, and then we started creating regimes, right? Okay, till this point, till we go halfway, we will be talking about business, we'll be talking about clients, we'll be talking about what did we do. But then beyond that point, it is only about us. So we learned. But I believe that our relationship, our business, our results, who we are as parents, as partners, as part of our families, it has all been built on those walks.
So tell me a little about your relationship as parents. How do you parent your girls? Do you all have different approaches? Do you all say, okay, it's the same?
Yes. He loves to pamper the girls. So for him, like whatever they ask, he's a dad who would go to, and we and the girls and I, we often laugh at it. You tell something to Papa and he'll go to any extent to get it done for you. So for me, the mom who nurtures comes into the picture, and I want them to grow right, and I want them to get all the right values. And we laugh at it also, like Mama is the one who wants you to, and they say that we love it, like the combination of both. We love it because we want to feel pampered also. And his is like, if they ask something, I'm gonna get it for them. And for me, if they ask something, I would enable them to get that. So I become a little difficult, and he's very easy with the girls. So that's a difference in parenting style.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
girls are always daddy's little girls.
yeah, there's things. So I think one of the things that I feel is that growing up, one of the things we did do with girls right was that we did not give in to their tantrums at all. Like you cry for something, that's it. You're not getting it. So there was some like it's not that I would give everything. It's like, so our at our home, we barely have had teenage dramas. Barely ever. Both the girls are now pretty much above teenage because like the younger one is going to become 20 this year, the older one will become 23 this year. So we did not have any teenage dramas. That helped us a lot. And second is that we actually spend quality time. Whatever you invest in increases. And I would think that we spend a lot more quality time with our younger daughter because you learn a lot at the expense of your older child, right? The stuff that you do there as a parent, like a lot of us are trying to learn to be parent on the job. And when we started getting help from outside, it made a big difference. Like, we all have coaches, the girls have coaches. And when we actually got somebody else in, it just changed our relationship with them, especially in the last 6 years. It has made a big difference. So that's the thing. Other thing we've always had, even back when we were not coaches, is like, I used to say I would never leave anything for you. Like, I would not leave. I'm not building anything for you. Everything will go back to the world because I got everything from the world. And, it's like, and behind that philosophy was that if they're great, then anyway they will make it. If they don't are not great, then they will spoil it. So what's the point? That there is a Gujarati thing also, kuch saput or something. But that was a philosophy for us, with a little bit disagreement between us and all of it. But we are aligned with that it's not that we don't want to give anything to them, but we don't want it to be an obligation. Like there are a lot of friends we've got who just basically, I've got already built a house for this kid. I want to build another house for my other kid. And I'm like, why? And Shilpa and I, we said no to both our inheritances from both our families. We don't want it. And we're not like, they need to build it. They need to earn it. They need to earn it. So that's a philosophy which has helped us as well. One other thing is that it was funny that we were at one of our relatives' place and Shilpa's sister place, and Shilpa's sister said to our younger daughter that, why are you talking? And she was like, what? Why are you talking here? These are older people, adults talking. And Ella was like, excuse me, like, why would I not talk? And we also supported her because that's the thing. Our kids can actually pretty much stop us, please don't respect us. And it's the thing, they respect us because they're their parents, but please don't respect us only because of that reason. So they have always had a voice from the very early childhood. And they know what to do. And whenever they didn't, it led to fights at home. Because it's not that all hunky-dory, right? We have done stupid things as parents. We've done mistakes as parents, massive, too many to count. But we've done some few things right as well. Our daughters are women of substance. Super proud of them.
Yeah. I would say leaving a legacy in them rather than legacy for them is what we are focusing on. And they have talked about it. And if you see in this house, they are not two parents and two children staying. It is like 4 adults staying. Each one of us has a voice. Each one of us has a dream. Each one of us is working towards something. Each one of us has got a place which is our joy. And we are quite connected as a family. As Kapil said, we spend more time with the younger one than the elder one simply because, the 3 of us work together. She works with us in our business. So she travels with us and, that happens. But we are doing our bit to understand the difference between the children and still give them whatever we have. I mean, the only thing that parents want to do is to leave them with some wealth which can never be taken away from them. And I believe that that's what we are focusing on, legacy in them rather than for them.
So our kids are paid for their school, for their college education, and the younger one is going to go to Netherlands in Leiden. And she's paying for her own education. Like, that's pretty cool. It's not, that will build character,
Right. That's beautiful. And I love that statement, leaving a legacy in them rather than for them. Share a specific trial or an obstacle that tested your relationship the most.
I believe when we got broke, I think that was a little bit of a difficult time for us, because when you don't have money, when it is a matter of survival, then you want to literally, it's as if you have a right on each other. Do this, don't do that. There's a little bit of khicha tani, and there's less patience for things to develop by themselves. I think that was a time when we were struggling with us. Like in the world, our bestseller was being released. At home, we were broke with no money, not knowing what to do. And also, that also reminds me of a time when Kapil left his job. That was 2018. So whole of 2018, he was he had left his well-paying job. He was a director at Cognizant, and he was figuring out his passion, right? So the whole year it was like sometimes he was making cupboards because he thought he's really great with all this construction work, and he thought he'll go into construction. Then at some other point he was doing something else. Then he'll sit with a friend. We have those hopes that I'll set up a business and my friend who's already got a business can help me in that. So Kapil was whiling away all this time, and as his wife, I was seeing it, but I couldn't do anything about it because I wanted to give him a space and not be rude to him, and give him his time. I think that was a time where it was getting tested, and I'm so grateful that we've got people around, our own friends, who came home and then they kept sharing their insights and kept challenging us both, and that pushed us to not get absorbed in little things that were attracting our attention, but actually to bring Kapil to what he's really great at, making a difference. So I believe that was a time, that year was pretty much tough for us because there was no clarity. There was nothing that we could do. Like morning, we'll get up and there was literally nothing to do, no office to go to for Kapil, and the usual routine for the children will be on. So I think that was a little bit of a dimmed out year for us. But I don't think there was anything which ever we allowed to come on the relationship.
Yeah, and I would mention that episode because it might help people. But generally, I was thinking that actually nothing that tested us and saying it'll break ever. But it did happen once that, and it's a stupid reason. I wanted to buy an 85-inch television. Okay, and it was a joint decision because coming at home, and Shilpa would say no because she's like, hey, why do you need it and all. So every time I would raise the conversation, she'll basically just swat off and do something else or make fun of it and all of it, and she'll just pass it by. And ultimately, it got too much for me. So I remember one day I was saying something about it, and she made fun of it, and I got really angry. And when you're angry, you just become stupid and you stop taking in. You just blurt it out. And I got really angry and really upset about it. And the night I just walked away. And this was one of those rare times ever when the anger that it went to this. So I came to this room, picked up a something mattress and all, and I slept there. And I remember feeling miserable whole night, couldn't sleep whole night. Next day morning, I did not talk to her, which was again very rare, very rare. So next day morning, we didn't talk. And this thing went on till late evening. And Shilpa is upset, and the girls are like, this is something they have not seen. Like they've definitely heard the shoutings and all, but this was rare. So they step in, and then we start talking, and then I in those days I really understood, and I'm actually to some degree, part of me is glad that I went through the experience. Because for the first time in like that was like 4 years back, Shilpa, was it? 3 years, 4 years back, 4 years back, 3.5. And that was the time, the first time I understood how does a person feel when they feel that I'm not loved. And I remember sleeping on this thing. I decided in my mind that Shilpa is in love with me for convenience. Because it's like when you start thinking like that, you can create episodes. Say, look what happened. Look at that, and you prove to yourself you're right. And I came to this conclusion. And I remember knowing it 100%. This is the only thing which explains it. So I'm upstairs in the room and girls are participating, and I say this without looking into Shilpa's eyes. I say, "This is it. I know. This is it. This is convenience. She's in love with me only because of convenience." And I'm so sure about it at that moment, 100% sure about it. And then Shilpa says, and she comes and she just turns my cheek towards her and says, "Kapil, do you think it's even possible?" And immediately everything melts. Everything melts. I melt. And I cry. And I completely melted. And everything is over. It was such a stupid reason, right? Everything is just, it is very illogical, right? But it's everything melted. And I shudder to think about it. Not that it would have been possible between us to continue the fight, because that's who we are. And I think there's so many people, Jennifer, who take that one night into 2 nights, into 4 nights, into a month, into a year, into 10 years, who do that. And we know people, we have had clients who did that. They're not even living in the same room. The last time they were intimate, 3 years back, 4 years back. What are they missing in life? They don't believe there is love, there is connection. They're staying together for the sake of their children. And and I'm glad that for the first time ever, that happened. Because before that and after that, I never thought that you don't love me. And it felt like life has no meaning. There's nothing that I achieved which is worth it. It was horrible. And I would not ever want to go through that again, ever in my life. And I know people that are going through it, and it just connects me with the pain. So sometimes we'll do these calls where people want to buy our program and they tell us, and I cannot help but cry. Because while I'm all this energy and all of it, I cry. And we're there on a video call, and I choke up and I cry because I can remember how it feels to be not loved. I think that was the toughest day of our relationship. And I don't think it could have been broken at all, because we're just much more than that. Oh, but I remember that. I'm still like, oh.
It was a very different kind of emotion for both of us. Yeah. And one of the things, like after this, what Kapil has mentioned, when we convert one small fight into hours and then days and then months, we see so many people doing that. And the biggest thing that I have seen come in between relationships is your family, my family, and we see it so much, ultimately, this is a theme where somewhere comes out in relationship, that something happened years back, your family, my family. And one thing that has worked for us, and I really want to share it with our audiences, we standing with each other, no matter what. Family may say anything. I've seen Kapil always by my side where his family is concerned, and I have always been on Kapil's side when my family is concerned. So we have this, and I don't think we ever agreed on it, but I will not talk anything about Kapil and his family with my family. It's not going to happen unless it is good, right? I'm not going to talk about anything that is wrong with that, because that family is mine, and he won't do it with his family. So I think somewhere some unsaid rule came out that your family is my family. And it has continued like that. And not that initially there were not discussions, there were not fights around it. They were, because we were two individuals coming from very different families. But I would say that foundation that we built, that ultimately we trust each other. We know the intention that you are coming from. You're not against me and I'm not against you. So let's work it out. I think it worked really well. So I would want to tell all the people where they are letting family come in between partnerships, families don't matter. They come so much down the line. It's the two of you and your kids that matter. And if you can keep that heaven away from meri family, teri family and all that thing, it is like bliss.
Right. And I think when arguments happen, you tend to, you are so into what you are feeling, your own emotions. You are not looking into the other person's emotion. You just want to try to make them understand that you are hurt. And in that process, you say hurtful things, knowing that that other person will be hurt, whether that's true, untrue. And most of the times it will be true, but it is said in a way that it will hurt, it'll pinch, just so that they can feel the same amount of pain you're feeling at that moment. Yeah. And yeah, that's the same thing that happens, as you said, your family, my family, and that's just a cycle. And talking about that, Kapil, you mentioned that you were by yourself in that room, and whatever emotions you were going through, you built a certain kind of perception of what was happening, how Shilpa is, how she's treating you, everything, and it seemed a reality at that point of time.
Yep.
Even though it wasn't, but that hurt and that emotion made it feel so real. And I think not going out and speaking to her is what made it even more difficult. And I'm right now, working on a book on relationships. And this is one thing that I think would really work is one, of course, the key is communication. And go ahead and fight if that's what it takes to keep the relationship to stick to each other. But I think it goes way beyond even to the point of divorces, when partners do not want to open up and communicate with each other, do not want to share what they are feeling, how they are feeling hurt. Yeah, they just want to be with it within their hearts and not share and communicate and say, this is how I feel, or this is how you make me feel, whatever it be. And most of the time, when this conversation happens, it just turns into an argument. And I would say it is better to have an argument than have a cold war and end separated.
Yeah.
100%.
And I would say, Jennifer, what keeps them in that world? Like, what kept me from approaching Kapil in those 1.5, 2 days was my own ego, right? He's putting a big drama. Like, why should I go? Right? It wasn't right, but that drama that I thought he was putting, and my ego coming in the way. And also somewhere, you don't make place for that fight, that storm to come, and then everything settle down, because you're worried that it will drain your energy. So I remember, like, Kapil is pretty good at that. He will explode, he'll have fights, but he'll not let anything, he'll not sleep till the time things are sorted out. And initially, because I come from, like, I'm a very peace-loving person. I wouldn't like this calamity and this earthquake and the volcano to come, especially in the night if we have not agreed on something or we are having an argument. I would get exhausted. Honestly, I would get exhausted, and it will go until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. He would not give up because he has got huge energy and he would not let things slip, which I thought was too much for me to handle at that point of time. So sometimes, I would just give in because I wanted the fight to finish. I just couldn't take it. So I believe that somewhere you start acting that everything is sorted out, but it is not sorted out. And I learned from Kapil, no, it's not sorted out until it's sorted out. Because we can literally gather from each other's body language. When you hold hands and one hand is, it's not the same. You can figure out that the person is angry, and he can literally look into my eyes and he can say, oh, what's there? You are not over it. So I believe that those clues are really important to catch, whether things are sorted out or not, and keeping away from the fight just because you want it to be peaceful. I think it's just a short-term solution. It has to go to that level, and it has to be sorted out once and for all.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point, and it happens with quite a few couples, I think, where it's just exhausting for one person and you just give in to that. But in at least one of the fights, they will realize when your partner will try to pull you in and have that discussion, that difficult discussion. Even though it's difficult for you, once you go through it, you'll be fighting, arguing with tears rolling down like cats and dogs, basically. But after you're done with it, your heart is so light and you've learned so much about each other. I think that's when the revelation happens, and you be more open to discussions in every argument or any misalignments that happen going forward.
Yeah, couples who don't fight don't have a relationship. Simple, right? Oh, it's in a very ideal word. No, we never fight. Oh, okay, all right. Then you don't have a relationship. Then you are not individuals. You're basically just we are individuals. We have different life, with different priorities, different way of thinking. You will have an argument, and the idea is to work through that. The idea is to really evolve from that. Like we're going to be 25 this year, and I'll repeat the same thing that I mentioned. It's a choice. I'm not with her because I'm not even religious. So like I'm not here because somebody said, oh no, you're married, okay, go. Yeah, like, no, it's just I'm here because of a choice I made. And that choice is mine to make every single day. And it's always great to be able to wake up with a person who you feel, and you love that person, you respect that person. People think, oh, you're 52-year-old, she's 48, you're too old, guys. I'm like, no, this is alive, it's kicking, and it's just more passion, it's more intimate in every single way possible. We're buddies for life, hopefully.
Yes, I'm sure.
No doubt about it. So yeah, I mean, because we are talking about the arguments, I would say partnership is not so much about being in love than it is about managing conflicts when they arise. Because everything is good till the time a conflict arises, and if we don't know how to take care of it, that is where the roots are hollowed. So if people don't have a rhythm that they have set up in their conscious state of mind, when argument happens, then this is what we should do. We should first hug and then sit down and talk like adults. It is gonna go wrong. So it is important to have certain rules in place in partnerships, like how will we deal with it when we dream, how will we deal with it when our dreams are very different, how would we grow children up, how would we manage conflicts, how would we deal when you become unapproachable. So it is important to have those pattern breakers pre-decided, and it just makes easier to deal with those difficult situations.
Right. And that you mentioned love. Now, love again for different people would mean different things. They would define it differently. Some would consider being intimate as love. Some would consider, going once a year, maybe taking a partner on some vacation or giving them the best day of their time during their birthday or some special day is love. So how would you define love?
For me, it is like completely, as I say, I define it by these words: completely, madly, passionately in love with the person, that you accept the person as it is, right? So I would say that mostly couples I've seen, they are very different from each other, and the same difference can come handy, but I have also seen people cribbing about it, right? So it is celebrating the differences, getting up every single day hand in hand, doing something amazing, gifting each other our time. I think that's the biggest act of love that we can do, and that love can take any form depending upon what the people like, whether it is holiday. But I would say it is not those big fancy things. For me personally, it is those little things: having tea together, me putting the water on boil and he running to the backyard to get that tulsi. So that is love for me. It is when I come home after a catch up with some girls, having a coffee catch up. I come home, he opening the door and just giving me the tightest hug, that smile on his face. And it's like as if I've gone only for 2 hours, but when I come home, it's like I'm coming home after 2 months. That openness, that warmth that he creates, I would say those little things are love. And obviously, when the difficult time it is holding hand in hand, because if you're standing together, nothing can touch you, literally nothing.
And it's a very tough question for me because I don't know. Like I think so. I've been thinking when Shilpa was talking. I think for me, it is that absolute certainty in my heart, without pretension, that she's there. That's it. And then everything. Like I think I think intimacy is a part of it. I think vacation is a part of it. Walking is a part of it. Everything else is there. But that certainty that this person is there with me, she's with me, or he's with me, till the time we finish. That's I think is is love. But again, not a master of it, right? That's the definition that has evolved. Uh, I want her to fly. I want her to be somebody amazing. We both, I think, I don't know where we got it from, but it's like in my presence, she feels like a queen, and in her presence, I feel like a king. And I think 60% time we fail probably in that, maybe 70. But it's a pretty cool thing that we could do it 30% time, because back like 3-4 years back when we thought about it, we could do maybe 5%. And now it's like, can I? And every time I'm conscious of it, I do a better job at it. So I think it's that, maybe.
And that's a profound way of thinking about that. Okay, so looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in how you approached or handled certain challenges?
Together, isn't?
Together as a couple, would you have done anything differently in handling?
Yeah, everything. Everything, like everything. I think, yeah, today what we know, like Shilpa and I, we have this thing, I don't, like, people just get hooked to who they are. And I don't believe we are hooked to we are in reality. We evolve. Like everything in our body except our brain cells change. Like our skin cells last 6 months. Our even our stomach lining, I think, is 18 months or maybe less. I don't know exactly. So we change everything. Then why do we keep holding on to the older beliefs and everything like that we have got? So there's this core philosophy that basically I am this particular person, and actually just take a step back and go back. Whatever I have done it. To say that, oh, I had to go through that lesson in order to be here, I think is very disparaging for who I am right now. So I would say it is what it is. You can't change it. You just can't change it. So why bother about it? So I think if somebody could say, oh, go back and go take a time capsule and go talk to the person, I would tell that young person, the young couple, say, stop being stupid, man. Stop thinking about your future. Your future is going to be bright any which ways. Live every day. I'll have 15,000 lessons to give this person. So I don't know if it answers the question. Everything would be different, but then nothing would be different because you can't even go back. So why bother?
Yep. And it's amazing while Kapil is saying that, I would say I wouldn't change a thing. And, it just again brought out the difference between us. I wouldn't change a thing. And I know where Kapil is coming from. Why struggle if we know this? But he said that it is not the right way to say that I would have gone through it. It was a journey, but I do believe that it was a journey. We wouldn't have been so rock solid today if we had not gone through it. Yes, sometimes could be squeeze, some bit of struggle, but I feel that there's no shortcut to things in life. And I do believe that right things come in at the right time. It was important for us to go through that childhood where we were craving for certain things individually, growing up in different parts of the world. It was important for us to come together. It was important for us to go through, see that dampness in our career. It was important for us to become broke at some stage. It was important for us to build up everything from the scratch and have that pride that if we can do it once, we can do it again. So life, bring it on. I think it was all important for us. So I wouldn't change a thing because and I'm not saying it out of any ego. I'm saying it with complete awareness. I'm really proud of how far we have come. Is this our end state? No. There are a lot of things like we have to change. Even between our relationship with the girls, with our clients. Yes, there's so many things that we can do. But that's what fun is all about, right? If there's nothing left to do, then what is life? So yeah, that's my take on it. I wouldn't change a thing, and I would say life, bring it on.
Wonderful. It's just a complete journey. You learn about each other throughout your life. There are certain situations which teach you certain lessons, and certain lessons you just have to wait for it to come up to explore yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So it's evident that children learn from examples set by their parents and observe how they navigate through life, what they're doing, and how they are looking at life's challenges, how they're nurturing relationships. So as your daughters observe your journey, they are undoubtedly, learning a lot of valuable lessons. But beyond just leading by example, how are you actively teaching them about relationships? Are there any specific conscious ways you are doing it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You go,
Go
Shilpa,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead,
I would say
Kapil.
we're into their life. They would bring their boyfriends home. You know, they would talk to us about their relationship. They would talk to us about their broken heart, because both of them have had it. um, and so we are open about it to understand it. You know, and these they have educated us a lot of things that we don't know about, and having limited perspective. You know, so I would say that 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 this continuous dialogue, I will go back to the same thing. The more you invest time on something, it grows. Relationship, all the more so. So there's a continuous dialogue at home. There's a lot of love, a lot of care in our home. There's a lot of cuddling. You know, everything is there. And but along with that, there's also like conversation about, here is a challenge that I'm having with my boyfriend, and here's a thing, and you know, we'll jump in and we'll have a talk about it. And you know, I would bring men's perspective, and Shilpa will bring the girls' perspective and everything. And you know, oh, okay, then ultimately they'll make their choice what they want to do. But I think more than anything is one of the things that happened last year, April. Shilpa, me, and our younger daughter, we were traveling to US, and we were in Sydney. We were going for an event, and Shilpa also had her TEDx talk. So we were going for an event, attend an event, and so our younger daughter Alina was there with us. And then we all three of us were talking at the gate, and somehow the thing came about leaving things for children, and you know. And they're like, we're not going to leave anything for you guys and all of it. And something like that happened. And Alina said, so anyway, she said that, look, I'm really proud of this. I tell my friends that my parents say that for years, for 10 years or so, my parents have been saying it. And I'm proud of it that I'm building my life myself. But, you know, when you say that you won't leave anything for us, that's not true, because you've already left a lot in us. And that's when this entire thing that leave the legacy inside you and all of it came. I was like, she said that our life will be very different from our friends. Our life will be very different from everybody else that we know, because of the kind of shift in the personal development world that we have taken. And then we go to the event, and you know how universe just brings things together. And there was Brandon Burchard, and he says this, that if you look at any rich family, you can go back in their history, you will find there'll be one couple or one person who said, no, stop. That's not how I'm going to live my life. And they became the one in the family. And we're super proud of this. We are the one in our family who decided to take the road less taken. So even when Alina decided to drop out of school at year 11, you know, when she was going to go, she was going to the second best school in the state, you know, and public school. We were supportive, and she did that. And then she broke her year 12. After 3 months, she woke up and said, oh, I'm missing my friends. So she broke her year 12 into two parts and did it over 2 years period. We were there with her every step of the way. It was not like, see, huh? No, none of those dramas. There's no stop. Like our kids would just go back and say, why? Like, why? And we were like, yeah, why? So I think that's that dialogue, shared vision, discussion. We will talk to them about, like, some of the times our clients will send us message which will make us cry because of joy. We will go tell them, hey, this is what happened, and all of it. We share our dreams and our problems and our failings. When we fight, our kids intervene more often than not, you know, and it's just such a big thing for us that we've got this support. Amazing. So it's just, I love it. Do we have things that we do, stupid things that we do as parents? Oh, yeah, of course we do that. Like, you know, because we're also learning on the job, but we take help from our coaches. They have coaches, so we can reach out to them and say, this is the thing. And it helps us evolve as a family.
Yeah, one of the things that can come in between is the fact that we are coaches. You know, so the fact that you are changing the world, you're making a difference, you're sorting out everybody's life, you're simplifying it, and then you come to your home and then you have to do conversation. If you act like coaches, it is not gonna work. So I believe that somewhere behind the scenes of how we appear to the world, there, like, with our children, we become absolutely like learners. We like, if you see us at home, Kapil and I are like, we are the little children and our girls are the adults. That's how it is. And we are having the conversations and they are saying, no, mama, no, papa, this, like, a lot of open discussions are happening. And I always wanted to create this kind of environment, and what they are getting, what they are becoming, very proud of that. But I wanted to create that openness in our environment where they or any of their friends or friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, they can come in and they can just come, and this is their right from their school days. Their friends will come after school. They won't go to their home, but they will come to our house. They'll cook, they'll bake, they'll sit there. And our girls feel so proud of the fact that their friends have got that comfort level, which makes them more comfortable with us. So I believe there's no small thing, but the little things in the environment that we do that make kids comfortable and open up and talk to us about their pains, what are their dreams. And we will commit mistakes, definitely we would be committing, and we sometimes we don't know how much is too much. We don't know how much internet is too much. We don't know how much of friends coming home is too much. We don't know how many heartbreaks are too much. We don't know whether it is okay for when their friends come, how much of the sleepover is too much. We don't know, but we are learning and we are evolving. And the kids are growing up well, and it keeps us happy and keeps us fulfilled as parents. And it's a pleasure to see them grow. But we are very different behind the scenes at home.
Yeah, and I think we will never know what's the best way. There's no one template. And as you said, as parents, we are all evolving, learning. And kids these days know so much. And that conversation that we have these days with our kids is also, I'm sure, is very different compared to how it was between us and our parents. And whatever we try to teach our children and imbibe those principles, values in them, we try to do our best. Whatever our parents have taught us, we take those things, teach them. Certain things which we didn't like the way our parents taught us, we try not to include those. So it's just a journey, but all we need at the end of the day is give them the best, help them soar high up in the sky, and that's what matters.
Simple thing is, they will also commit their own sort of mistakes. They'll screw it up. They'll have problems. All that is going to happen. Okay, all that is going to happen. It's to be expected. Doesn't matter.
And all that matters is that we just stand there for them in support.
Correct.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, one chicken and egg question for you all. Did the strength of your relationships help you get through the trials, or did the trials help you get stronger as a couple?
Oh my gosh, such a good question.
First one, I would say the first one, the strength of our relationship. And I've no doubt about it, because the trials only made it stronger. So I've always said that Kapil is the best thing that has happened to me. Obviously after me, but he's the best thing, and he has made my life colorful. He has made these trials worth it. I don't know if I was just standing there alone, how many of them I would have welcomed, but because he's standing with me, I have 100% surety that we will make it happen. So I would say it only strengthened it.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's a positive cycle. It's just a positive cycle. Yeah, but relationship comes first. And then you're there together, going through the challenges and working it out, and going through your own stuff and problems and challenges and working it out. That's it.
Right. There has to be some substance already in the relationship to get you through that trial. And as you go through that trial, you become stronger. So I think it just goes hand in hand. Okay. All right. I'll ask you one final question. What are your hopes and aspirations for the future of your relationship, knowing that you've overcome, knowing what you've already overcome so far?
Mine is I get very inspired with old people when I see them. They're walking together. I see them in the shopping mall, like very slowly walking together. And I see sometimes these people sitting on a bench in a near a riverfront, and where we go for a walk sometimes, and a coffee shop, sitting together. And I think that's my aspiration as far as the relationship only goes, that really like do that. And as far as our life goes, to who we are, I just want both of us to fly, like extremely high ambition, high proximity, extremely high impactful, really, really being known to people for the work we create, and super proud of each other and standing together, tall and strong, but always together, always together. That would be the best thing.
Yeah. The same thing, like old people falling more and more in love with each other, spending more time with each other, because that's where love is born and it further deepens. Making a difference, doing what we are doing more of it, and having a lifestyle where we are always together. And if I could take it so far, I would want that both of us would leave this world together. And I know it's not possible, but that is the extent to which I want to go. And I really want to give this man all the happiness, all the impact that he wants to make. And see, I tear up when I talk about it, but this is what I want, because I know he's got a golden heart, and I want him to fly, and I want to fly with him.
So wonderful listening to both of you all. I can just feel those emotions already.
Thank you.
And you shared, Shilpa, about these old couples holding hands, and that actually reminds me of my husband and I going for a walk and seeing an old couple walking hand in hand. And I was like, what do you see? So he's like, yeah, I see, even at this age, they have so much love for each other. I said, yes. And some people might say that love, no love, it is an old age for them. So they're supporting each other so that they can walk straight. So it's just what other people see. But at the end of the day, the two couples, both of them, the partners, holding hand in hand right till the end of their life, in all ways possible, supporting each other. And I see you all as a power couple, because I have seen your posts. That's all that made me think of this. And after having this conversation, I know for sure the trials that you guys have gone through have made you all stronger. You already were a strong couple with whatever you have shared. And I wish you all the best in life with yourselves as partners and with your children. And thank you so much for coming on my podcast and sharing all your valuable insights with us.
Thank you, Jennifer, for asking all those wonderful, deep questions, which we didn't know were coming, and making us think differently. And I hope the audience have some great insights from it for their own life, and we could make an impact through this small discussion that we had here.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing out these points, because I think we've done maybe 20, 30 podcasts, but it has never been about this so much, and suddenly it makes you feel good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All my pleasure. Thank you so much, Kapil. Thanks, Shilpa.